This is to Michelle Obama, who seems appalled and has injected herself into the race for Hillary Clinton. And I can hardly talk this morning because I'm so sick. I'm allergic to chemicals. And I've been kept homeless, made a pauper, and forced to inhale illegal toxins. They're to be put into where you're living in a small space and forced to inhale it is criminal. My immune system, when subjected to this, I have to breathe, attacks itself. And my immune system gets so low, and as you get older, it gets lower anyway. So it affects over time the inflammation it creates, causes such damage to the organs of the body, the heart, the kidneys right now are bad, and my lungs, and I don't know what else. But let me get to this. This is political, and I wanted to say that to Mrs. Obama, you all kidnapped me. I'm talking about this government and part of my own family, the Windsors. And by the way, you and your husband and family just spent a couple of nights, one I know, at Windsor Castle. And that's where the double is buried with Wallace Simpson. This is a double that assumed the illegal title of Duke and Duchess of Windsor. My father, Edward VIII, never married Wallace Simpson. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Windsor, and my mom was from Madison, Wisconsin. Sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe, an American, all right? This is my father during his forced abdication. This is the double that married Simpson. And all the antics that he did of crime and everything, people actually thought it was my father. They did a darn good job, didn't they? Churchill was part of it. Here is George VI, my uncle, in 1939, the year I was born, to my mom and dad. He's with Roosevelt and Elizabeth's mother. She's closely related to the Rothschilds that helped my own uncle kidnap me. This is made in 39, the year I was born. Kidnapped in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, to a pigsty. This is a gussied up, in case you don't know what gussied up is, of the Dempseys. I was given the name of a twin, my identity stolen. I still have to use it. Lina Dempsey had twins there on the end, and they were born out of wedlock, and they were killed. She killed them. Carl has a death certificate. I'm just going to show his birth, I think, here, though, where when I got the birth certificates from Montgomery, Alabama, they had actually marked through the date of birth because it didn't jive with the date of birth that they'd given me when they kidnapped me and I grew up using. And it would be, I think, a little hard to delete all that. So they just crossed through it, but then that's illegal in itself, too. So they were born a year earlier. And Peggy, I'll go ahead and say it since Mrs. Obama thinks things are appalling, they fed her to the pigs. But I want to get to what you did to me. You brought me over here with this family. And believe me, they didn't have a car, and you're not seeing their home, and they weren't dressed like this. You took down my father, Edward VIII. And this is my grandfather, and I wonder how he died now, knowing what I know. This is the imposter, one of them, the photos that was with Wallace Simpson, married her, and became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Now, both of them are buried at Windsor grounds, where you and your husband spent at least one night or 2 nights with Elizabeth, illegal Elizabeth, part way up there with the New World Order, the people that kidnapped me and brought me to this country. Now then, my father abdicated, not because of Wallace Simpson, because it was forced. The Jews, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, you know them, don't you? They control the media, and the Kennedys, okay? Thus the Warren Commission cover-up and all that. This is just a photo when I was brought over here small, I'm going to show. High school, where I was waitressing to take care of this woman that killed her twins and brutalized me. Here's Elizabeth, living on my money, illegal treaties she allowed the United States to take over the British. She's living good. Now, there's no way I can tell the horror story. I am going to tell this. I did a book before I found out about my kidnapping in 1975 till April Fool's Day of 80, when they put antifreeze in me. And one of the doctors in this, I'm going to go ahead and say I was writing about, was Dr. Victor Gonzalez, a child psychiatrist. Now, there's a long story behind this. I was writing about him. And do you know, I wrote about U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald, whose plane went down. You should know about this, Mrs. Obama. You're so caring. Plane went down in 83, August of 83, and I was flown out to Mr. Flint's. He endorsed me. And April of 84, and I was out there in 83 during the congressional campaign. Now, mind control was used in the shooting of Mr. Flint in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I was taken to Lawrence County, Alabama. Montgomery's the state capital. You know, Mrs. Obama, where George Wallace was shot in Laurel, Maryland. He was the governor, remember, ran for president. Lina Dempsey, this woman, was with him in the campaign when he died. Well, he didn't die, but he might as well have, right? What they did to him. And so that this video doesn't go up without some of what I meant to put on it, I'm going to go ahead and say this. This was a horrible family. Horrible things happened to me. Victor Gonzalez, there was a suit back to him filed against him. He was at Parkland in Dallas interning when Kennedy was brought in 63. He was in at Redstone Arsenal, Huntsville, Alabama Army, the same time me and my husband were. And then he went to Atlanta in about 66, I guess, and then my husband goes over there and takes me over there, and there's a suit filed against the sick SOB. I wrote about him raping his patients. He even admitted that he killed 2 people, and he sure tried to kill me. He was part of it. April Fool's Day of 80. Now then, when I went for a tox screen to see if it could dilute whatever had been put in me, and now then I also realized that the night before, I'd gone there for safety because I'd written the book, got a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd, my dad's birthday, by the way, but of 79, and all this still happens to me. I thought it was because of the book, and in part it was. When I got to the emergency room in the condition I was in, I knew that I had been given something bad. Also that night, and I woke up to April Fool's Day, and this had happened to me. Lois Pearson had gone to computer school with me, and her family worked for doctors, her sister, and they had done illegal acts, her and her boyfriend, really bad. And she confessed it on her phone. And anyway, that night at supper, she and her kids watching said, drink this, it's like Gatorade. Well, I never liked Gatorade, you know, never drank it. But she insisted, she says, I forgot what she said, really. I remember looking at it and thinking it looks thick and yucky. She said, sip it, and the kids kept encouraging me to, and I did, and I didn't like it. They tried to get me to take another sip. I think I took 2 sips of it, and I put it down, wouldn't drink anymore. Well, it was antifreeze. I went to the emergency room, West Paces Ferry, and guess who met me there? Dr. Chelton, Chelton. Later I found out he's not even on the staff there. He wasn't there, and since I can't get an attorney to defend me, nobody will touch it. You're getting to names that people think are these great people. You should really find out what they're really like. Dr. Chelton. He was over the psychiatry, and I forgot the name of his title there in Georgia. Anyway, it was a night of horror, Nights of Horror. And on Easter, it was on the 6th of April of 80, I was stuffed into a car and taken back to to Huntsville, Alabama, where this woman really tried to kill me over and over again. And an FBI agent, Jack Hartsfield, also a reporter, and Salvador Rossini, a former FBI agent, retired supposedly, came to Huntsville to try to help save my life in the condition I was in. Now, I want to get this up now. Also, I worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, as in Wallace Warfield Simpson was supposed to marry my father. Of course, it was a lie. It was an imposter. And I lived at Warren House Apartments where I worked for the district attorney, Simpson, and Warren, as in the Warren Commission that covered up the Kennedy because it would lead to me. Now, then Barack Obama appointed Caroline Kennedy ambassador to Japan. Remember Japan, that you bombed the heck out of them? My life, this only touches it, what happened to me and my kids and my parents. I want to say this, though, to Mrs. Obama. I picked cotton. I lived in filth and garbage and crimes being committed to me from the day I was put there. At age 2 in 1941, I was kidnapped. And because of the addendum, my father had filed an attachment, and it was legal. It went through channels, proper channels. The day I was born, I was Queen Victoria II, heir to the British crown, which would have brought my father back as guardian and power of attorney. Well, my great uncle and the Rothschilds, the Jews, the Rockefellers, controlled the media, and the Kennedys had to kidnap me then. Okay, so they had me, and they brought me over here to this mess, while this woman has my title, my money, and she's committed war crimes. You talk about war crimes? I wanted to get this before it went up, though, Mrs. Obama. I had nothing to eat. I had no clothes, and I'm not going to get into all that was done to me as a baby, a child. All right, and you talk about you're appalled. Oh, give me a break, honey. Now then, I said that about the attachment, and it would have brought my father back, and it's legal. But I was in Moulton, Alabama, a farm that you picked flies out of the milk and you drink the milk when you had milk, okay? I was called illegitimate because I had to, and bastard because I had to use the name of the dead twin, Peggy. Both of them were killed by their mother, who'd faced the death penalty in Alabama. So growing up there, no clothes, being called bastard, brutalized, is unreal what happened. I picked cotton, so don't tell me anything about all this pity. I pick cotton. I drink water out of jugs where 20 people in the field drink out of the jug. And I carried a cotton sack over my back. And then I'm going to jump to when I was probably in the 6th grade. I lived at Landersville, Alabama, outside Moulton, in a little shack with no water and no toilet. Excuse me, it might have had water, I'm not sure. But I'm going to go blank. Carolyn was a black child, a little older than me. And she was a friend of mine, by the way. So I won't go into that further. But I took the job she had as cleaning house for the Lathams, Bill Latham and his wife. Bill was her name, and Leonard Latham, for $1.25 on a Saturday. I did everything in my life that you When it's used on somebody else, it's appalling. When it's me, it's a joke. Mrs. Obama.